At the top of the division, pretty much so, breaking into that top five like we were talking about, let's talk about this main event because Derrick Lewis versus Curtis Blades with one hell of a knockout in this one. Oh my lord, this was insane. And the whole story leading into this, Blake, was is he going to wrestle? Is Derrick Lewis going to get taken down? How's his wrestling? Has it improved since he fought Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight title in the interim between Cormier CP1 and Cormier CP2? We remember CP didn't get the immediate title shot right after he lost, so he had to deal with that. And we
So
have
suspect. I don't understand that.
yeah, no one does, but we don't need to go back to that time. It was a weird time. It was a really slow start to this fight. A really slow start. Not a lot of punches thrown. A heavy filling out process. We had Derrick Lewis stepping all three of the takedown attempts that Curtis Blades threw at him. And I think the craziest stat, Blake, is Derrick Lewis. He threw 23 total strikes in this fight with about 7.5 minutes of work. 23 strikes within about 7.5 minutes. He lands only 7 of those, but he still comes out with the dub in this one, and that's because Derrick Lewis or Curtis Blades shoots for a takedown, and Lewis just times his uppercut perfectly, and it sounded like a baseball bat hitting a baseball. Blades just goes limp, and then Lewis with a couple of follow-up shots just for the cherry on top. This was one hell of a knockout, one hell of a statement by the greatest heavyweight knockout artist, and now tied for the most knockouts in UFC history. He, with his 12 now, he ties Vitor Belfort for most UFC knockouts of all time.
Super impressive. Yeah, I mean, Curtis Blades, you knew what he was going to do. You knew he wanted to go to his wrestling at some point.
Yeah.
And it was actually surprising to me how well he was looking in that first round. I mean, it seemed like he was almost dominating the fight, really. And I was actually texting my friend just how off kind of Derrick Lewis looked. And it's funny because he even admitted after the fight during his post-fight press conference, he was like, yeah, I mean, I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't get my body going that
It was
night.
because his balls were cold.
Super frustrating. And that's wild to me that he was having an off night. He couldn't get his body going, whatever it was, and he still knocked this dude into the shadow realm. I mean, you could tell.
Isn't that scary?
He probably drilled that same freaking uppercut hundreds, thousands of times during this camp. And I mean, credit to Curtis for even going for a takedown, because that's a scary thought now that we've seen the aftermath of it. But I mean, that's the name of the game. You go for the takedowns. You leave yourself open to those uppercuts, and Derrick Lewis capitalized. I mean, that has to be harder than it looks, right? I mean, it's not like he just. I don't know, man.
If it was easy, we'd see every fighter land an uppercut like that every time someone dove for a takedown.
Like Khabib would have been hit with one of those shots by now if it was that easy.
Exactly. Derrick Lewis is just a freak. He's a freak. I think that's the only way to describe it. I think the funniest part was, of course, Derrick Lewis, always great in his post-fight interviews, where he's saying a lot of people thought that those last 2 shots were unnecessary. And people thought it was a late stoppage. I mean, literally, Herb Dean couldn't get there sooner than he did. Okay, so that was a stupid criticism. But you have Derrick Lewis hitting the couple extra shots because Curtis Blades could have risen up like the Undertaker, just eating those.
Yeah, no, he's crazy.
And so, now, Blake, I already know exactly what I want from Derrick Lewis, but we'll talk that first or last. What do you want next for Curtis Blades? And I ask you, is it too soon for a rematch with Volkov, or do we go another route?
I don't know.
Their first fight was back in June of last year.
It's tough for me because Blades is just not a guy that I super enjoy watching, unless he has a fight like he did against Overeem, where he just kills people. But Yeah, I mean, for him, I think it's kind of just a wait and see right now.
Mm.
We got Rosenstruik coming up this weekend.
Rosenstruck and Gane, baby.
So, I mean, there's going to be a path cleared real soon. It's
Mm-hmm.
just once some of these guys, like you got Rosenstruik and Ngannou, and then we got Gane, or I think I always say Gane, it's gone, right?
Yeah, Serial gone.
Versus, who's he fighting again? He's fighting,
Rosenstruck, baby.
oh, shoot, I'm
Yeah,
tripping
yeah, you
out.
just said that.
So, yeah, those guys are fighting.
Yep.
I was thinking of Francis Ngannou for some
Oh,
reason.
I already got Ngannou and Stipe. Lewis and Blades just fought. So the only other guy, you have Volkov. Overeem still on his little medical suspension.
Yeah, so I mean, really, I think it's kind of just a wait and see whoever gets healthy first.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to have the contract offers
That's
between
fair.
Volkov, Overeem. I'm sure Overeem doesn't want to fight Blades again, so yeah, it's probably going to be Volkov's fight
Yeah.
or one of these up and comers. He might have to fight. He might have to fight number 8, number 9, someone that's free.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a really easy answer for both these fighters, quite personally. Just real quick to get out of the way, Derrick Lewis was saying that he wants to clap Alistair Overeem's cheeks before he retires, and so we that might be a possibility. We never know. Let's not count that out. And if that does happen, Lewis will be clapping those cheeks hard, hard. But Blake, here we go. Super easy answer to both these guys' next opponents. Okay, you want to hear it? Super simple. We take Curtis Blades. He fights the loser of Gunnar Rosenstruik. Derrick Lewis fights the winner of Gunnar Rosenstruik. It's that simple. That's all we got to do with this, right? Is this easy? Is that? Because I really think it is.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it could be because you already got just John Jones is the only curveball that's thrown
Yes.
in this division
Well, the
because you don't
perfect
see him on the rankings, but
no.
he is number 2
He's
behind Ngannou.
he's 1B at this point. Ngannou's 1A, John Jones is 1B because at least according to all belief, we're having the Stipe in Ngannou rematch. That's going down. And then the belief for everyone is that John Jones is going to fight the winner of that fight. And that's an idea that I'm
So
not
who does the loser of that fight then?
Ngannou versus the winner of Lewis and the winner of the so the loser of that fights the winner of Lewis versus the winner of Ghana and Rosenstrike.
It sucks because if Ngannou loses, it's
Oh.
just the same old.
You mean if or when?
If Ngannou always has a puncher's chance, you never know.
When?
He could go
But we'll
Deontay
get to that.
Wilder.
We'll get to UFC 260 real soon, real damn soon, of course. In a perfect world, though, in the perfect world, it's a fight like this. You have the number 4 guy against the number 2 guy. It's a fight and a big knockout. It's a fight like this where, if it wasn't for John Jones, I would say Derrick Lewis gets the next title shot. He'll fight the winner of Ngannou and Stipe. I
I
believe
mean,
that.
I'm pretty sure that's how he got his first one, right? Didn't he get his first one after he knocked out Volkov?
Yeah, knocked out Volkov,
Yeah.
and then
So
he
I mean,
went on
that's
to
usually
fight.
what happens when
Also,
you
there
don't
wasn't
have
really
John
anyone
Jones.
in the heavyweight division at that point besides Stipe because he was out with the medical suspension, I believe, because of a little
Eye pokes.
finger to the eye. uh, but
DC fought Derek Lewis with like a bad back, still won.
yeah.
It's
Also,
kind of crazy.
Derrick Lewis. It's crazy to think that's about what a couple years ago, and honestly, I believe we have a totally different Derrick Lewis now than what we had back then. Because Derrick Lewis, we didn't see him on the ground because his takedown defense was actually really damn good on Saturday night. I was thoroughly impressed by that. I'm always impressed by his striking because it's amazing, but I was even more impressed by his takedown defense. He's really been working on that hard, and it's obvious at this
Well,
point.
that was the only hole in his game. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you could get that guy to the ground, it was
You
pretty
just
much
lay on
night
him.
night. Yeah, but with him being able to stand and keep it, standing and banging, that's just so nice for him. It's great news for him.
Yeah. So obviously this guy, Derrick Lewis, has been making some improvements, and that is a scary thought if you're at the top of this heavyweight division.